All right, guys. How's everybody today? Oh, good. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody look at Chris Ebert's shirt. Oh, yeah, that is amazing. Ready for Easter. Ready for Easter. That's all right. All right, guys. Let's go get us going here. And we're talking about standing out in a shifting market.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for coming. Number one, I want to introduce the loan officers. Of course, Chris and I are going to be teaching this, but we have a whole office of loan officers. So if one of them invited you, whether you're online or you're in person, take them to that. Our goal is to bring value to what we do here. So we respect your time in coming, and we want to make sure that we're giving you a lot of value, and that you leave here with some things that you can implement that's going to bring value to your business.
And thank you guys for being online too.
Yes.
We got several people online, and we appreciate that.
Also want to mention, in the packet that you have, there's going to be a form that says we need your help. And it's just an opportunity for you to write down a name and a number of anyone that needs to get pre-approved that we haven't pre-approved yet. So while we're here, if you think of someone, go ahead and jot them down. What we do at the end is we collect those from you, and then we'll do a drawing, and somebody will win probably this basket, because that's usually what it is. So we'll collect those at the end. Who thinks that right now it's a tough market for buyers and for realtors alike? Right, it's a challenging market right now. I think that I have a lot of conversations with a lot of realtors, and a common thing I've been hearing over the last few weeks is how tough things are. I've talked to people who are getting part-time jobs to try to supplement their income. I've talked to people who are like openly down when I call them. And I think our mindset right now is probably as important, if not more important than ever. When things are challenging, we've got to make sure that our mindset is in the right place. Mindset is everything, right? Having the proper mindset when you approach your day will give you the best chance of having success. Chris and I were talking about this morning. If the market stays like it is, which nobody thinks it's changing anytime soon, I think 6 months from now, you're going to start seeing a lot of realtors and probably lenders both getting out of business. 6 months from now, we may see 25, 30, 35% of realtors no longer being realtors, right? And I don't want anybody that I know and care about to become a casualty of this market and to not be doing real estate a year from now because of how tough it is right now. It's not to depress anybody, because the mindset should be, I'm not going to be a casualty. I'm going to do the things that I need to do to make sure that I'm not only thriving now, but when things do get a little easier for my buyers, that there's so much business coming my way. It's a windfall, which should be what happens if we're doing the right thing. So that, what are the things that we can control? The controllables. Number one is our attitude. We always get to control the attitude that we bring to the office every day, to our business every day. Write that down. Number one is attitude. Number two is effort. You get to choose if you're going to do your job today, tomorrow, or not. What is our number one job? Realtors, loan officers, salespeople. Sell. We get to choose if we're going to make phone calls, make outbound calls, and make sales calls or not. Right? We get to choose how we're going to treat people and the effort that we put into our business. And the third thing is our activity, which goes with effort. We get to choose what activities we're going to do. Who has ever gotten into the black hole of their email, and then you look up 45 minutes later and you've accomplished nothing, but it's lunchtime, so let's go grab lunch, and then I'll actually do some work at 2, and before you know it, I've done a couple more emails and the day is over. My effort was really, really good on my email, but I didn't actually put effort to the right activities, right? So we want to make sure that our attitude, effort, and our activities are pointed in the right direction, because right now it's more important than ever that we're doing that. We want to give you some tips today just to help you stand out in this market. Chris, tell us about the topic, and I think you're going to start out with some things to help.
Yeah, so how do we win in a seller's market? You guys should have a sheet that looks similar to this. And we'll let everybody get that. Everybody online, you should have a sheet. This is how to win in a seller's market. And Clint touched on the first thing first, right? Mindset is everything. It's most important. You can do amazing in a tough market. Who thinks they can do amazing in this market? Home prices are high. Oh yeah, going up. You know, when you win a sale, you're doing pretty well, right? It's a whole lot different than in 2011 if you were in the market back then, selling a house. Totally different mindset. So why is it a seller's market? I got 3 reasons that we want to touch on. This is great for you to know, so that when your buyers think, hey, I need to wait till the market crashes.
Who's heard that recently?
Yep.
Who
goes back down.
who heard that 2 or 3 years ago? Like, we had buyers who were like, well, I'm just gonna wait until the market goes down before I buy. And now the market's up 55–60% from where it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
What a great decision, right? Not a great decision.
Yeah, people even in, I remember back 2014, 2015, the market had been good 2 or 3 years. Man, I'm gonna wait for this thing, I'm gonna wait for that next 08, right? It's probably not gonna happen. There's 3 reasons why. Number one, millennials. Millennials are the largest group in the history of the US, 73 million. They are in that first time home buyer age group, right? It's they're 25 to 41 or 24 to 41, something like that. You got a ton of first time home buyers coming in the market, right? What do first time home buyers do to inventory?
They hurt it.
Oh, they heard it. Because they take inventory, right? They're not selling a house. The first time home buyer, they're getting a house and they're taking it, right? So inventory is gonna go down because of millennials. Number two, builders. Builders stopped building in 2008 and 2009, right? They went out of business, they had problems, they had developments they couldn't do. So for about 3 or 4 years, they didn't build at all hardly. They started building a little bit in 2012. They're behind the curve. They know that there's demand for houses, but if they find 200 acres, it's gonna be 2 years, maybe 3 years before they get that first house built.
And they really didn't ramp up building until like mid to late teens, 15, 16, 17, because big builders have to buy and prepare big chunks of land to be able to build. So they started in 16 or 17, they didn't really start building and getting those homes sold until 18 or 19, right? So they're way behind the curve when they stopped in 2008.
And they're not gonna catch up anytime soon, right? Even if you find 1,000 acres, awesome, develop it, get it going, put 2,000 houses on it. That'll hit the market in 2025, probably 2024, maybe if you're lucky. So that's not gonna be able to get caught up very quickly. And the last one, and really a big one, is hedge funds. Right? What are hedge funds? What have they been doing for 10 years?
Buying
Real estate trusts. Yeah, real estate trusts. They're buying rental properties. Never in the history of the US has, big investors come in like that on this scale and bought rental property. Well, if you're competing with a hedge fund that has $10 billion, if they want the house, they can get it, right? So they're buying and holding. At some point, they'll liquidate. I don't know when that'll be. Not this year, I don't think, right? So know that. Those are 3 reasons that this market is not going to change. Talking to a guy that's done a lot of research on this, studies are showing that they think it'll be a seller's market for like 6 years. Now, I don't know if it's going to be at this pace for the next 6 years, but it will most likely be a seller's market until 2028. So, hey, Mr. Buyer that wants to wait till 2029, it'll be a buyer's market again, and a discount on that price that's doubled from where it is today, right? So that's the thing, right? You wait for prices to fall. I'm gonna wait for them to fall 10%. Well, if you wait till they fall 10%, what if they go up 30 or 40% before they fall 10? You're still in the hole. So you guys know that this year, Fannie Mae is saying 12% nationwide, and Zillow saying 20% nationwide appreciation this year again. Okay, so that's awesome. That's really a good piece of information for your client. Hey, I know you're paying 400 for this house. It's most likely to be worth 450 to 500 next year this time. It's crazy. Yep. Like, don't miss the opportunity. Great opportunity for your buyer to grab that house where it is today. Also, interest rate before we go on. Like, oh my goodness, interest rate. Wait for them to fall. Okay. You're gonna wait. Who knows, right? Maybe, maybe not. But if home prices are going up, lock in the rate you have today before they go up. If rates go up, which they may continue to do, you're locked in at a great rate. You'll be like, oh, I got in the high 4s, now they're in 6s. I'll take that. If they drop, what can the client do? Locked in for 30 years, unless they go up. Then you can drop them and, hey, they go back to 3s, 2s, whatever, refinance it.
Were you gonna say something? What was that percentage again? The Fannie Mae, 20%?
Fannie Mae saying, they predicted 12% nationwide. Okay, Zillow saying 20% nationwide. What is national? Is national average? National's not a nationwide average. We're always, above that. So 50%. So,
I just want to say, those 3 things, like, you need to have those written down, memorized, because your clients don't really want to know how you feel. They want real information. Like, they want to know when you say most likely prices are going to keep going up because inventory is going to be an issue, and they say, okay, you say, or when they tell you, yeah, I'm just going to wait until prices drop, or if we have to saying, hey, do you want some professional advice on that? And then you can say, because of these three things, it doesn't look like prices are gonna go down anytime soon. Inventory is gonna be an issue for at least another probably 6, 7 years, if not more. So unless you don't wanna buy a home until the 2030s, I would suggest thinking about these three things and then let's continue this conversation. When you have like real information to share with someone, it makes you more professional. It makes them trust you more. They will take your advice more quickly. They'll follow you more readily, right? So I don't really want to know how you feel. I want to know like some data behind it, right? Chris said, "Look, man, I think prices can go up this year." Really, Chris, man, tell me about that. I mean, I just have a gut feeling.
Gut feeling, man.
Like, okay, well, if you've not predicted something in the past, if you can show me, right, Nostradamus, I don't really care how you feel. I want to see like proof, right? Or give me something to go on. Like inventory, builders not building, millennials, 73 million of them. Like this is real stuff, right? And then the hedge funds, this is all stuff that's been written about and documented. So use that information with your clients because it's super powerful.
And those are three things that are nationwide causing inventory problems. In Tennessee, are people migrating here or migrating away?
Here.
Everybody's coming here. You talk to anybody from California, Chicago, New Jersey, they all want to be in the South. Want to go to Florida, Tennessee, or Texas.
I was talking to a builder too, and they were saying like one of the biggest things that slowed them up from building is the cost of material. And now with
It's supply
inflation and you have gas prices going up, that affects everything. Anything that uses oil, roofing, anything, building products that use oil. So that's only going to continue,
Yeah.
So,
So the foreseeable future, home prices are going up. So how do we win, guys? How do we win in this market? You got a buyer making an offer. We've got 10 or 11 things here that we're going to give you some tips on how to get that offer accepted. Okay. Number one is research that listing agent. That first call needs to be to that listing agent and building some rapport, right? If you know the listing agent, how much of an advantage are you going to have over if you don't, right? Also be an agent that's good to work with. Your reputation, right? If there's 5 people that are putting in offers and one agent has a bad reputation, you don't want to, I don't have to deal with, we don't have to deal with it, right? So the first call is all about building that relationship, building rapport. So when you call them prior to number 2, when you call them, you're going to find out the situation of the seller. Okay. What do they want out of the house, right? Or what do they, are they trying to, get a 60-day lease back? What do they need? Basically, you're trying to gather information. When do they want to close? Do they want to close a 60-day closing, a 90-day closing? Hey, I know right now when you're trying to make contingency offers, it's hard. But if you have a seller, like, man, I can't get a contingency accepted, but hey, if I can go ahead and close in 30 days, but you give me 60-day lease back, I can live here. Now I don't have a contingency. I'm closed. I've got my cash. I've got my down payment, and I know I can go out and get that next house, right? So knowing all the information is huge.
The common thought is, I know what the seller wants, just the most money possible. That's all they want. But it's not always the case. So a lot of times when you ask that question, you hear that just the most money possible. And then the other half of the time, maybe it's something else, right? So asking that question is huge because you may hear, well, the real thing they need is extra time to find the house they're going to buy. Okay, cool. Let's do a 60-day close with a 60-day lease back. That gives them 120 days from today. But I usually accept this offer that I'm sending over right now, right? So that's a huge thing. And when you list a house, how often does somebody ask you? How often does a buyer's realtor say, hey, what does the seller need? Does that ever happen? So does Chris, is it? So yeah, that's awesome. So like that's something we should use.
Yeah, basically you can sweeten up the offer. Hey, what are they looking for? What, you can figure out the price they want. That's great too. Ask them what would win the contract. What would win this? My buyers want your house. We're ready. We're ready to go. And speed to contract is huge. I made that as a little bullet point. Put a little pressure. Like, hey, you see these listings, you come out and say all offers will be reviewed Monday night at 5 p.m. Right? Today's the Wednesday. You put in that offer, put a deadline to respond tomorrow at 5. Give a strong offer, over list, whatever it needs to be, whatever you think might win it. But hey, we're not waiting until Monday. We need to know. And see if you can get the negotiation, get that thing, right? If you wait until 18 offers come in, what's your chances? You're 1 in 18, right? And really, unless you're way over, you're 0. So sellers, they're like, hey man, I see the comps. My comps are at 450, which is amazing because last year they were at 350. And I just got an offer on day 1 for 480. I don't need to wait. I can take it, right? If you're the listing agent, you might want them to wait because they might get 500, right? But put some pressure on there, like just because they want to wait 3 days to review all offers, say, hey, I gotta have a response to mine. If you don't take it, that's fine, but I need a response to mine tomorrow, right? Put some pressure on it. Yeah. Number 4, guys, increase the earnest money to equal the down payment. Right? Make the earnest money big. Like, hey, we'll put down 10%. We'll do 10% earnest money. If you do that, don't make it non-contingent on anything, right? You gotta have some contingencies in there, financing, maybe appraisal, maybe inspection. But right, if you increase that, how good would that look on a $400,000 house if they put $40,000 in earnest? Would that help? The seller say, yeah, absolutely, this looks good. Clint, number 5.
Ask the lender to have a conversation with the client about offering more than list price if they qualify, right? So to review the financing to see, can they go above the list, right? But that's what the lender has to determine. Most clients, a lot of clients can, not every client can. But that's not something you need to always do, is offer a whole bunch more than what it's listed for. With your fingers crossed, make sure that the lender is involved in that.
Yeah, so if they're putting down 20%, they can go over list price and put down 10%.
As long as their ratios allow it.
As long as the ratios allow it and mortgage interest, they gotta play with that.
What would you say, Jeff?
I think that with conventional loans, people with money, they have the assets to do that. If your first time buyers, they're struggling.
Yeah.
So what is your strategy for that?
You can't do that. I think speed is key. We got a couple of things down here that I think help the first time home buyers. And, if a house is on the market one day and there's 45 people in the yard, the THC buyer is good. I mean, unfortunately, it just is what it is.
Well, I'm doing a deal right now with Rivet. So, maybe first time home buyer, we as the lender were asked, basically we get an email that realtor signs up. We get an email and you just have to point out, yes, they're pre-approved. They put the offer in, it was accepted. The client's paying like $1,700 to Rivet to use the service. So basically, if they don't close with the mortgage, Rivet buys it, right? So, so it's basically as good as cash. And that got her at the home. So she had been losing out a lot until they finally used it.
So we've done several with Rivet. There's some other services like that too. And yes, it basically turns a finance offer into a cash backup. So they make the offer, it's basically a cash offer. The lender still gets to do the loan, but if something happens, and they, can't get it done in time or whatever.
1 to 1.5%.
Yeah, something like that.
So
Yeah.
they're still gonna have the money, buy a $400,000 house, they've gotta pay them 4 to 6 grand.
I think it's 1% if they don't use it.
Yes.
So they pay Ribbon regardless. Like Ribbon comes in and says, hey, we're gonna make a cash offer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay you $4,000 to make this a cash offer, and we're still gonna get our loan.
So that's
If
what
they
you
do use it and Ribbon closes, it's a 3% fee.
Yeah, it's more.
It's
Yeah,
a
for
12
sure.
program. So it's expensive, but
But
Or trying to get a house
four
on.
grand as opposed to trying to make up a huge appraisal gap or something like that, or if you just don't have the funds, it's like, hey, I can come up with that $4 grand.
Right.
And get this, and get an offer accepted,
How does that work with the lenders? Like, so Ribbon, I've heard lots of good stories about it. In fact, Benchmark's now got it on our dashboard to, just go ahead and start using it for competitive situations. So the way I understand it is like, they get pre-approved and then you send the pre-approval to Ribbon.
Yeah.
And then they kind of, Ribbon from there. So they're still working with the lender.
yeah, they still want to get a loan.
Yeah.
They basically have a backup cash offer. If they can't close it for whatever reason, Ribbon will close it.
Yeah, Ribbon just wants to know, like, okay, you're gonna get a loan, great, and I need to see that you're pre-approved. And we know, and we're gonna look at the home and make sure that it's worth what you're buying for. And, if all that comes together, then it's no problem. Of course, it's just money in their pocket for a service that they would never be used for,
And when a seller sees it, they see it as a cash offer.
They see,
That's right.
Well, you would have to put on there what
it's a ribbon, if there's a ribbon addendum.
Yeah,
There's
exactly
an
right.
addendum,
And- But to a seller, it's gonna close.
yeah,
Cash
exactly.
If you accept it, it's gonna close.
This is
Whether,
huge.
whether they use the loan or not, Ribbon will buy it or the buyer will buy it. One of the two.
That's huge.
It's still contingent on the appraisal with Ribbon, depending on,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so you still like, you can't pay 500 for a house that's worth 400.
And waive the
Say, I'll
appraisal.
pay the full 500. No,
You just have to research like with Ribbon on the appraisal shortfalls and all that kind of stuff, like what where they're at with that, but it's, I think it's a great tool.
But that's separate of you guys.
It is,
That could be utilized with you, but it's separate of.
yeah, Ribbon's their own thing.
Got
Number 6 is remove the financing contingency. You know, you gotta have somebody that's fully good, right? We can underwrite a file before they find a house. If you'll send us somebody that will get us their information, we can send it in, have it fully underwritten, they're approved. We have to have an appraisal and title, right? But they're fully approved. Say, hey, we don't have to have a financing contingency. You can still have an inspection contingency. You can still have an appraisal contingency if you wanted to, but you can waive the financing if you know that they're solid.
And they don't buy a book.
And they don't buy book. Now, when you gotta be careful, that you would not want to waive that financing contingency and put 40,000 in earnest money,
Right.
right? Because if something happens, if they lose their job, they're out the earnest money, right? Financing contingency does not, that covers you if you lose your job. It doesn't cover you, like, you waive it, you waive your financing contingency, I'm sorry, lost your job, can't get a loan, too bad.
But in
You're gonna lose your earnest money, sorry.
Yeah, no, no, go ahead. But in the financing contingency, the appraisal has to meet that.
It's part of it, like if the appraisal comes in short, we can't do a loan, that's part of it, but the appraisal can be separate. Like you can waive the appraisal and still have a financing contingency. Like, hey, you know, we don't worry about the appraisal, but if the appraisal comes in too low and now you can't get a loan, then you still have a financing contingency that you can fall back on.
And if you waive the finance contingency, but still have the appraisal contingency, when
Right.
it comes in low, you're still.
You can still get out.
You would go.
Yep.
Number 7, remove or limit the number of days on the inspection period, right? If you have somebody that, you know, has, their dad's the inspector, or their dad's whatever, or they know houses really well. I know investors, they don't get inspections, they look at the house, they go in, they make sure it's good, and that waive that inspection. Maybe make it 7 days, so the seller's not waiting 10 days or 14 days for the home inspection. Number 8 goes along with number 6, make sure your client is 100% approved, and they only need an appraisal, right? Get them pre-underwritten. And you have to work with a lender that can do that, and they have to be on board with it. 'Cause a lot of people, you know, they'll say, oh, I've already talked to the lender, and I'm pre-approved, they pull my credit, but I haven't given them all the stuff. Like, no, we need your stuff, we need your documents, right? Number 9, Clint,
Check see if the lenders will do an appraisal waiver, which this has to be run before the offer is made. But it's somewhat common right now, it's becoming more and more common that when we run a file for approval, we get what we call a PIW, a property inspection waiver. So that would need to be checked on by the lender. If they get it, then
so before you make the offer, you can say, hey, Chris, we're making an offer on 123 Main Street. You got Mr. Jones pre-approved. Can you see, you know, they're putting down 20% new buyers. Can you see if we can get a waiver? FHA, you can't get a waiver, VA gets a waiver, USDA, stuff like that, but conventionally you can sometimes, right? I can go punch it in, run it through. Hey, man, at 450, with them putting down 20%, we don't have to have an appraisal.
that needs to be on a house they are making an offer on, not, hey, let's run it on these 4, because we don't go see them tomorrow.
It's gotta be on the house there, actually make it an
You
offer.
have to have an address in their application.
An address, a
And a
price,
price.
And a
right? You
price.
can't go, well, you got it at 400, but we are under contract for 430. Well, might not have it anymore.
And that's something that can be determined pretty quickly. Like if you're
It
trying to
takes
make an
some-
offer quick, you can.
It takes some time for us. We gotta go into a system to run it. But yes.
When you say time, what are you talking? 3 days, 4 days?
Oh, no, 15, 20 minutes.
Oh.
But if you have us doing that on, you know, 4 at a time, it's gonna take a lot of time.
Sure. But if you have that house and you're like, I want to get this house and make my
Yeah,
offer
we're making the
competitive.
offer. Can you guys do this? We
Yeah,
went through
I would
the
say
system.
same day, because if you call right now, at 15 minutes, I plan to still be up here.
Right.
So,
Right. It's 15 minutes of actual work when you're in front of the computer and you have somebody.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. Man, it's crazy. To save $550 and not have to have a person.
Do that.
Number 10, guys, create a list of the items that the buyers will request to be fixed if inspected. So you could say, hey, we're only gonna inspect the foundation and roof, or we're only gonna look at certain things, or make the inspection pass fail. right? I like the pass-fail option. When you write that offer, hey, it's a pass-fail inspection, because once you get the inspection back in 7 days or 10 days, and it's pass-fail, and you find some surprises on it, you're under contract, it's going, it's closing in 2 weeks. It's always negotiable, right? Even though, yeah, it's pass-fail, well, hey, it failed. But if you guys will fix that blown up AC unit, we'll still buy your house. Right, pass-fail, I mean, it does help, like it looks better, you know, we're not gonna put 32 things to go fix the light switches. But if you find something that's weird, like, hey, guys, it failed it, but if we can get 5,000 toward the HVAC, we're still willing to buy your house, but we didn't know your HVAC was supposed. Okay, I didn't know that either, let's negotiate, right? Now, negotiations right now are not always in the favor of the buyer, but if they say no, you can still say, you know what, we're willing to proceed, okay? And then number 11 is research the seller of the home and see if you can find a way to connect with them.
I'm sorry, can I say one thing about pass fail? Because I've had a lot of agents on the sales side and the buy side that I've talked about pass fail with, and buyers too, that don't understand that pass fail is in the opinion of the buyer.
Yeah.
It's not the opinion of the inspector,
Oh,
it's not
sure.
the opinion of the seller, it's nobody's opinion but the buyer.
Right.
And I've had buyers and sellers and lots of people who didn't quite understand that. Well, is the inspector gonna tell us whether it passes or fails? No. And I've had agents, listing
Yeah,
agents tell me, well, if the inspector didn't say it's a fail, it's not a fail. It's no, it's my buyer's opinion.
How much does it cost me to fix what's broken?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
So,
it.
so yeah, so it's
That's
strictly buyer's opinion.
Very good. And then last, research the seller of the home to see if you can find a way to connect with them. Ask your client to record a video and send it along with their offer, or write a letter. Now, some people say there's ethics and stuff that may go along with that. You can't do it. I don't know. You guys determine that. But I know, I've heard in the past that I've had people write a letter like, my family is gonna love this home. It's perfect for us. We've been looking for 6 months and we would love to buy your house. And the seller looking at that versus America's Home for Rent.
So true.
I've had videos win offers.
Absolutely. So,
There's also, I had an agent that was scanning the neighborhood, driving around the neighborhood where the client saw a really cute homes, like this is perfect for my client, wrote an offer or wrote a letter about her clients and how this home would be perfect for them. Wasn't listed or anything. The seller or the seller, the homeowner loved the letter,
Yeah.
sold the home to them.
there you go.
So
And those
I-
are
That's a
Yeah.
strategy for first time buyers too.
Now,
So
I think what
If
first time
you're a
buyers-
market of 0 or 1.
Yeah, you're the only person.
Exactly.
now that Chris is on, we can get serious about this.
Yeah.
The key is to make a list of all of the things that a buyer can do to separate themselves and have it on a sheet of paper ready to go. Right? Like if I'm a buyer and I'm talking to a realtor and it's like, well, you know, like what kind of ideas do you have? And you start having to think about it, like that's not nearly as good as, well, let me show you. I've got 15 things here that I do to help separate my buyers and help you get your next offer accepted. Right? So I would tell you to take this and create your own form that is either in your buyer packet or that you just have at the ready. So that when you are meeting with a new buyer that's maybe not your buyer yet, you can convert them using that information. That number or letter A, B, and C at the top, having that ready to go about why buying now is a good idea because of millennials and because of builders having such low inventory. But creating a list of as many things as possible of what you do to help your buyers get their offer accepted. That if I meet with Jeff and I meet with Brian, I'm gonna choose the one that I feel the most comfortable with as a buyer. And the one who has a list of 20 things and the other one who's like, yeah, I mean, I do some stuff, but can't tell me what he does to get his buyer's offer accepted, I'm gonna choose the realtor that seems the most prepared, that has a list ready to go, right? That's who I'm gonna choose. So have that ready, like build this out. It'll take, you have a start. Think of anything else, add it to a list, and then use that to help you win more clients, right? It's great to have this information. Most of this you'll forget by the end of the lunch alert or by next week. You'll forget pretty much all of it. But if you have it typed out ready to go, you don't have to remember it. You just have it ready to show. So use this info. What were you talking about next?
So real quick, a couple things. How would you like to sell every client you sell a house? How would you like to sell them to? Right? Sure. If you explain what's going on in the market and the return people can get on their money, would it be wise to invest in real estate right now? It would be, right? Now, you never know what's gonna happen, 9/11 event, that kind of stuff, right? But we have to look at the information. The government said it's, the inflation rate is 7.9%. Who believes it's 7.9%? I don't. If they say 7.9, it's probably 15, right? 7.9 is stripped out all the other stuff. Hopefully that number, starts to come back down. But when inflation is that high and you can borrow money at 4, 5, 6% and invest money at 15 to 20% returns, that's a big, big win for you. So I want you guys to think about this, and I don't have it on a slide or a handout, so you may want to write some numbers down. If somebody buys a house for $500,000 and they put down 20%, how much have they put down? Where's their cash investment? Yes, no,
Is it 500,000?
Yeah, 100,000, there we go, right? So $100,000 investment. If we got 20% appreciation last year, they're saying 20% this year. If they get 10% return on that appreciation, how long will it take them to double the home's value? You guys know the rule of 72. The 10% appreciation, it'll take 7 years to double. Okay, so that house that you're buying for $500,000, hard to imagine, could be worth $1 million in 7 years, 2029. Okay, so that $100,000 investment turned into $500,000 in equity. 7 years, actually 600 if you put it down, plus the payments you make, it's dropping that rate. So it's literally could be a 500% return in 7 years. If we get 10% appreciation for the 7 years. Will we? I don't know. But that's a huge thing, right? Where else can you get a 500% return on your money?
Roulette table.
Really?
One spin,
Right.
chance.
One good spin. Walk away after you hit.
That's right.
Right.
That's 35 to 1 there.
Not to mention, if you're renting it out, they're paying down your
Right.
loan as well, so you're getting
You
equity out.
gain, yeah, if it's a rental property, you put 100,000, the appreciation's killing. Plus you make a little bit of money every month on cash flow, hopefully, plus the loan balance is dropping.
So that's a good point, and I don't know if you're going there, but like you have a seller that's selling and they're gonna make 400,000 off their home. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna dump this into the next home. Like, hey, why don't you diversify that a little bit? And now you can buy your primary, put down 200, buy 2 investment properties with 100 down.
Yeah.
And now you have 3 homes that are going up.
Cash flow.
And the exact same thing for, if you've got cash buyers, because everybody, is talking about only cash buyers can win a deal right now, which is not true. But instead of paying cash for $400,000 on a house, buy several houses for that,
Yeah.
$400,000.
Really smart people usually use other people's money, right? They'll come in, maybe if these guys are come in and paying cash, they turn around and they're smart and take some of it back out and diversify, so yeah, it's a great point. We have this sheet, I'm gonna go over just for like 1 minute. How would you like to fix a $50,000 appraisal problem with $4,000?
I would like to.
Who's had appraisal come in short? Yep. So this is an example. If you read through it, it'll explain itself, but I'll explain it really quickly. Somebody buying a $500,000 house, they're putting down 20%, so it has to be a conventional buyer. It doesn't work if you don't have a down payment, right? So they're doing a $400,000 loan, but the appraisal comes in at $450,000. What's the first thing everybody does? First, they blame the appraisal.
Yeah.
Right.
Challenge the appraisal.
Right. Which they have a really hard job in this market, by the way. But what happens? Most people are like, oh no, the deal's gonna die. Everybody's gonna just freaking out. Like the first
Buyer
thing you
wants them
should
to come
do.
down, seller wants to put it back on the market.
That's right.
Yeah.
The buyer wants to come down, which if you're the buyer's agent, you should absolutely ask for it. Ask. They don't have to say yes, but at least, hey, the price came to $450, we'd like you to reduce the price. They might say no, or they might say, we'll reduce it to $475. Or they might say, nope, I gotta back up. Okay? So in this case, all it really did, it turned your 8% loan into a what? The loan to value went up because the appraisal came down. So now it's a 90% loan. Okay? So what that does is mortgage insurance. You can pay a one-time mortgage insurance on here. This is,
Just so everybody knows, lenders base it off of the lower of the two, appraised value or price. So if it appraises for more, we're still using the price as the value. But if it appraises for less than the price, then the appraised value is now what we're going off of. Whatever the contract
What
says,
your LTV
we're looking at what the value was per the appraisal. Does that make sense?
So in this case, for $3,760, they can pay a one-time mortgage insurance premium, and their loan didn't change a penny. The person came in 50,000 short, their loan payment is exactly the same as what we talked about in the beginning, doesn't change anything. There's a $3,760 fee. They pay that. Now, if I'm the buyer's agent, well, who am I gonna ask to pay for that? Hey, Mr. Seller, we're gonna pay full 50 grand over, but we do want you to pay 3,760 for our closing costs. Can you do that for us? We'll come up 50. We'll come up 50. Can you come down 3,700? Most sellers would do what? Okay, rather than put it back on the market, buy all this stuff, right? So most of the time, it's gonna affect your buyer very little or zero. Okay, so keep this sheet. This could be something that they can work out. It only works with conventional buyers. They have to be putting down at least 10%, right? Because you can go from 10% down to 5% down, or sometimes even 3%. But if they don't have any down payment, appraisal comes in short, that's when you scramble. Okay. All right,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever seen that before?
No.
so who has a few little ideas that are gonna help them win some more buyers? No?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
And I would tell you,
Absolutely.
the appraisal gap strategy, we just talked about. Remember the page when Chris went to the bathroom, I gave you all that secret of creating your own page? Like that should be on there, right?
Yeah.
I'm a realtor who has an appraisal gap strategy. And maybe I'll tell you about it as soon as you sign the buyer's rep agreement, saying I'm your realtor living in South Carolina,
Exactly.
right? That should be on there, like, don't share all this information before you land a client, but like, that should for sure be on there. Because there's probably a client out there who's fired a realtor, maybe because they thought it was the realtor's fault, the appraisal came in short, or they didn't have these strategies, right? So just have that on there, have it defined.
And guys, like one thing to think about too is when you're out here working with buyers, who's had buyers lose multiple offers? Right? And if you don't have the right strategy, you're not explaining it, setting these expectations, what could happen? Who's the buyer think the problem is?
Agent.
Oh, it's agent, like, no, man, you won't listen to me, maybe. We haven't gone through, maybe I haven't set expectations correctly. Let's go through what's going on. And then they'll understand it, right? Because last thing you want to do is work with somebody for 3 months, show them a bunch of houses, make a bunch of offers, and then they blame you. Right? Well, I need a new agent that can win something. Well, okay, good luck, but you don't want that to happen. Set the expectations and be professional about it. So, guys, we do have, we want to give you a lot of information today. It may be a little overload, but we want to leave you guys to leave here with good things you can implement. So the next thing we want to talk about is how do we create raving fans in our business? Okay, right? So we're gonna win the offer, but now we gotta, the buyers get frustrated in this market.
Oh, yeah.
And if they're frustrated in the market, they don't feel great about it, are they gonna refer us?
No.
Right, so that's what we're trying to do, is not just win the buyer and get a transaction, which is great, is create a raving fan that's gonna send us more folks down the road. So the three things that the book Raving Fans talks about, has anybody read the book Raving Fans? It's a great book. Know what you want. That's rule number one. You have to know what you want as a business person. I want raving fans. I want fans to say, hey, when they come to Preferred Rate Mount Juliet, whether it's me or Mitch or any of our loan officers, we're gonna get a great experience. It's gonna close on time. They're gonna take great care of you, right? We want raving fans. Number two, we have to know what our clients want. And it's okay to ask them, right? What does the client want? I want to buy a house, or I want to maximize the selling on the home that I'm selling. And then we have to deliver what they want plus one. Okay? So find out what they want, deliver what they want, plus even more. If you deliver plus more, that's when people really love your business.
Is there any business that you're a raving, let's think about a restaurant. If my wife and I were gonna go on our anniversary to dinner somewhere, who is someone who has a restaurant where you're just like, this is where you gotta take it? By far, this is where you gotta go.
Jeff Ruby's.
Okay, Jeff Ruby's.
Wow.
That's your raving fan of Jeff Ruby's.
It's just over the top nice. Like if you want to, I mean, from the moment you pull up to the curb and they take your keys and, you know, to the whole
Piano
experience
going.
of inside the piano, it's like, yeah, over the top. I've only been once, but, you know.
Yeah. Hey, but one time you you remember it.
Yeah.
Right.
But you would say, you would recommend them to anyone who wanna go back I never heard you say how expensive they were.
Yeah, that's why I've been once. For our next occasion, though, I would recommend it to anybody. Take your wife somewhere special.
But it's just interesting, right? That's like, hey, I want the best experience possible when it comes to a restaurant. Go to Jeff Ruby's. They took my key, all this. He didn't say, go to Jeff Ruby's. It cost us,
$500.
right? Like that wasn't part of why that's where you want to take your wife for a big dinner, or celebration dinner, right? It's because they take good care of you. But they met us at the curb and took our keys, right? It wasn't because they were like, Clint, you should take her there. Like, we got in and out after $32 and we got an appetizer, right? Maybe that's a raving fan experience, but not for Brian when he's talking about taking his wife somewhere special. So that's the point. That's what a raving fan is, and that's what raving fan service does. It gets you talking about them and talking about the experience, right? Not the cost, not, anything other than how it made them feel.
I mean, some people go to Applebee's on date night. I heard that song, right? That's, sorry, that's a bad joke. But anyway, so, why do we want raving fans? What is the point of having raving fans? One raving fan will refer you more business than 10 kind of happy customers, okay? If you ever go to Tony Robbins' event, he talks about business mastery. Satisfied customers leave. Raving fans stay, right? I mean, who's gone to Walmart and gotten what they wanted? Satisfied customer. Who goes to Walmart every time they can possibly figure out where to go shop? No, it's like, I can get what I want if I need to, but not a raving fan experience, right? So just think about that. Create a raving fan. They're gonna come back to you. They're much more likely. If every fan or every client that ever used you, never used anybody else ever, and never referred anybody else, how much business could you grow the business to? A lot. And we're gonna get through this pretty quick, guys. One of the raving fans, referrals. Your clients are emotional when they are buying a home. What's the number one emotion people fear, especially right now? Buying a house. Fear. Let's see if that's the first one. Fear. People are scared, right? And rightfully so. The market's crazy and things are going on. And, what's going on in the country. It's a lot more expensive than it was 2-3 years ago. So they have that fear. So we have to make sure that we're helping them through that, right? That we're helping them maintain that. The next one is a simile, I guess, a fear, something very similar. Anxiety and stress, right? And there's also one other one that's usually good. They're excited. So we have to manage those emotions and help them get through that process. So guys, we want our clients to know how much we care. Who do people do business with?
People that know, like, and trust.
Know, like, and trust, right? If they don't know you, they do business with you. If they don't like you, they're not gonna do business with you. They don't trust you, they're not gonna do business with you, right? So know and like, your cell phone has a whole bunch of people that know and like you. You may have to build the trust on the real estate side. How long you've been doing it, have you sold enough, or do you have the experience? It's a $500,000 transaction. You gotta build the trust, okay? Using words like, oh, did I skip something? Yeah, using words like please, thank you, and I'm sorry. Right? Just being polite, showing people that you care through the process. Here's a little thing that you can do too, guys, is make a list of important things that clients need when they're moving. Important phone numbers, right? We've got a couple things here. Does everybody have like a buyer's packet that they give to people when you meet them? You should, right? It helps you set expectations. You create the document one time and it's there, right?
That's what I was gonna say. Create it once and then you will tweak it maybe once a year, every 2 years, which takes like 5 minutes. And you like do it once and it's done forever. Almost, other than a tweak here or there, you change companies, you put the new logo on it, right? Do it.
Statistics change.
Yeah, statistics change, right? So you just gotta tweak stuff, but we look at it as, man, it's gonna take me a couple hours to do this, I don't wanna do it. 5 years from now, we're really gonna do that list of like important phone numbers. And then there's 5 years of not having something valuable that you can hand to your client, right? That shows how much you care, that you are catering to them, right? So whatever market you're in, have, one of the things on there was like the Comcast or TDS phone number, trash pickup. Anybody ever, I see somebody yesterday was like, where do I get trash picked up? Posted that on Facebook, right? What if their realtor had given it to them? What if they had a realtor give it to them? They'd have to go to Hit Not Do It to post it, right? The churches, childcare, you were putting on here like schools and crime, I don't know if you can do crime.
Yeah, I don't know,
Or
you guys-
real estate. You can definitely put a list of schools, anything that you should build this out and then just add to it as you're continuing.
And I would
to grow your business.
suggest, don't do statistics because they do change.
Yeah.
You could put, 2020, whatever it was. That way you're not having to tweak it all the time.
Utilities,
Utilities don't
Millennials love
change.
the statistics. The point of it, average.
What's that?
The millennials love
Yeah.
the statistics and the point of average.
Yeah, so if you can, you can
Yeah.
update it once a year or whatever and show what's going on with statistics and demographics and things like that. But having that is just a simple thing you can do.
the DMV, people move here, they gotta get their driver's license changed. Having that somewhere where they can just see it is very helpful as opposed to having to go to Google and search. So,
How do we build trust, guys? Integrity.
Call when you go in.
Yeah, small cut promises, right? So, I read somewhere, if somebody keeps 80% of the small things they tell you they're gonna do, they do it 80% of the time, that person is being usually trustworthy, right? Hey, I'll see you at 3. So, jump at 3, good, 80% of the time, you don't have to do it 100% of the time, it's great if you do, right? Those small cut promises are the big things, and setting expectations are a big part of that, right? Set the proper expectations that you're not gonna call them every day. The buyer wants to be called every day. You can do that, and you can, but if you have 5 buyers, you're gonna have a hard time doing that, right? So there's 3 phases when you have clients. There's the before they're under contract, during contract, and after. Our goal is to give you several ideas that you can implement, but if you leave here and you implement 2 for each, that'd be amazing, right? And hopefully you got stuff that you're doing here on these areas already. How are we getting them through the door? So the first impression, lots of energy and a huge smile, right? If they're calling you on your cell phone, they should hear that you're excited to have them.
can I just say, we'll call a listing agent on a brand new deal, and it's 11 AM, and that sounds like they just woke up. And they don't have my number saved, right? So they're answering the phone like that every time someone calls them. Does that make a client want to use you when you sound unpleasant or maybe asleep at 11? Like if I've called agents on homes that were listed, foreclosures back in the day, that I wanted to go see. And I was just call listing agent. And I'm after a 3-minute conversation of total unpleasantness, the girl's like, oh, you want to see it? Yeah, I can meet you over there. I can show it to you. And she sounds happy. I'm like, I wouldn't use you in a million years after 3 minutes of you being perturbed that I called you about a house you have for sale. But she didn't know I was a buyer, so she's unpleasant. How silly is that? I want to say stupid. Try not to use words like that. I have little children at home. A 3-year-old doesn't need to hear that. But how silly, right? We don't know when the phone rings who's on the other end. So pretend like we're excited or actually be excited because there might be somebody who wants to buy a $500,000 or $600,000 house. The other part of that is don't let your phone go to voicemail. Yeah, I know that's super challenging right now because how often does our phone ring and it's somebody selling us something, right? Trying to sell us a car warranty or buy our home from us or whatever. But never do you call a business and leave a voicemail and then hang up and say, man, their customer service is killing it. They're gonna call me back probably like later today, and I'm so happy. But now I want to talk to a person, and I know that is a challenge, and there are things you can do to figure it out. But as often as you can answer that phone, the better off you're gonna be, because, you don't know who's on the other end, but picking it up and answering it like you're excited goes a long, long way.
It's the reason why, like, I know I and others, realtors, whatnot, use the people you use in your business. It's like, oh, I like using, like, this lender or this, inspector, because when I call them, they answer.
Yeah.
That's a big reason, so.
Yeah, and having that personal relationship, and also Clint made a good point, no background noise, right? You can't always help it, but like, if they call you and the kids are going nuts, it could be a challenge to win that client. It's a new client.
I've called people and they, after 30 seconds or so, they say, let me roll up my windows, they're driving. Like, you didn't, 30 seconds to think, maybe I should roll up my window so I can hear you, right? Like, that's crazy, right? And it's not people that know me, right? Maybe it's a, you know, like I said, a realtor on the deal where we're giving them an update. But if you're entering an unknown number with your windows down, driving down 40, going 80 miles an hour, come on, right? Like, this is who you're competing with. So hopefully this is not you, but if it's not you, that's your competition. So just know that. Like,
Yeah, so a couple of other ideas, guys, thank you notes. Like you get a new referral, you get somebody that refers you someone, a handwritten thank you note. Thanks so much for the referral. Hey, Mr. Byer, thanks so much for taking the time to meet with me. Handwritten thank you notes go a long way. People don't do it anymore, right? How many handwritten thank you notes you get? And I'm in the business and we're in coaching programs that teach this. I probably get 1 or 2 a month, maybe, or somebody does it.
I go for you.
You want
I
to
guess
make?
James does it.
The welcome board, so, and it says a board, we need to change that, but it's the welcome board. So, like if they come to your office, we used to have everybody come to office. That was always our goal. I love meeting people, very effective to build a relationship. With lending now, with COVID, like there for a while, like nobody did. People are coming back in a little bit more now, but with you guys, what's the number one thing you want to do with a new buyer or a new seller? You want to meet them face to face. 70% of people use the first realtor they
Talking face to face.
meet face to face, talk to face to face. Not talk to on the phone, not put on the drip, not do an internet search. Meet face to face.
So
70%.
we had a welcome board where back then it was a whiteboard, so we would write the name. Then it was something electronic. And now it's harder to get people in the office. But if you're meeting someone at a place, like show up, say, text me when you're pulling in the parking lot and meet them in the lobby. So when you can open the door for them and say, Mr. Wiggins, are you Mr. Wiggins? I'm Clint. It is so good to meet you. Thank you for coming to the office. When somebody walks in to a place of business and they don't feel welcome, there's nobody at reception, or the receptionist says, how can I help you? They're like, I'm here, like, that doesn't feel welcome, right? But if you walk in, and it's like, you must be Brandy. Brian is waiting for you. Thank you for coming by. Do you want something to drink? You automatically feel good about being there, right? It's no different than showing up at any appointment, whether it's a doctor or anything. If they are expecting you, you feel welcome. If you walk in and it's like, can I help you? It's like, I'm not even sure if I'm in the right place. Because you don't seem like you are expecting anybody to show up right now. We want them to feel as welcome as possible.
The next one could be misconstrued. It says have drinks. We're talking Coca-Cola, coffee, water. So have a mini fridge, right? You come to our office, right? When you come to our office downstairs, it's fully stocked all the time. I think we just are not now, but when people come in, there's Diet Cokes and Cokes and waters. You want them to feel at home. Have your office kid friendly. We, again, I think we still have it, but we used to have like a little toy box with coloring books and stuff like that. We wanted people to feel at home when they come in. All About You forum. We struggle to get this done now. When they come in, they used to fill out All About You. It's like, hey, what's your favorite snack and whatever. But you guys should be asking those questions as well as your what's the dream of your dream house? Like, get those questions answered. We're looking for a 4-bedroom. We're looking for a garage. We're looking for a pool, whatever it is. And then that's going to help you set those expectations, right? Where you are not looking for the wrong house. Narrow it down for them so you're not showing them something they don't want. Pre-approved clients, they all get for us, if they're a client that's going to use you, they get another thank you with a popcorn. Like for us, it's like, I don't know what it says. I can't remember what the little note says, but it's the bag of popcorn. It says, it's from us. Can't wait to work with you. Congratulations on being pre-approved. It's just another touch, right?
So when you get a pre-approved buyer, or maybe someone signs a listing, literally the next day, drop something in the mail that goes to them, saying, thank you for choosing me, excited to sell your home, excited to help you find a home to buy. It could be movie tickets, it could be a bag of popcorn, it could be from one of the cookie places where they deliver them for you, the Christie's cookies or the crumble cookies, wherever they deliver cookies. But just something that goes, again, it's above and beyond, right?
And that wish list form, I would combine that with all that. Wish list and what the train go by. They said it went off the tracks 2 days ago. Yeah, never heard that here. So all that you form in the wish list. Yeah, that's good. And then guys, the last one is the home buying or the home selling process forms. That is where you set your expectations. We do this with every client. I go through, this is the home mortgage process. If you're refinancing, you're buying, set the expectations about underwriting, set the expectations about the home inspection, right?
So this goes with, if you're selling a home at the listing, telling them how you're gonna list it, when you're gonna put it on the market, right? I think it's really important to set expectations of when you're gonna, who's available 24/7? Got one? Got it. So if you're not available 24/7, if the phone rings at 9 o'clock at night, and you don't answer it, does the client know you're not going to answer it because you're at home with your family? Right? If you go to church on Sunday mornings, does the client know, like, I'm not available on Sundays until like 1, because like that's an important time for me. That's something they should know. It's okay to not be available all the time. Like if you want to be available all the time, that's cool. But if you don't want to be, just tell them, right? I have young kids. I turn my phone off at 6. I'm at home with the family. 8 a.m. I'm back at it. So if you leave me a voicemail after 6 p.m., I'll get back with you the next day. If that's what your thing is, let that be your thing. Your kids, if you have young kids, they're only young for so long. So I promise you, you won't be 80 years old going, I wish I'd have missed more of my kid's life so I could have sold another transaction sheet. That won't happen, right? Now, if you don't have kids, maybe you want to work till 7 or 8. But there's got to be a point where you shut it off, and if you tell your clients on the front end, I shut it off at this time and I'm unavailable, a normal person will say, okay. And they will respect that. And if it's a weirdo, you don't want to work with them anyway. So go ahead and find out who the weirdos are early on.
You change your voicemail. If this is after 6 p.m., your call will return the next business day.
And if you tell them and your voicemail says that, they won't expect you to call them back and call you and leave your voicemail set.
And you can always listen to the voicemail if it's an emergency. You can do it, but at least the expectation is set.
In regards to standing out, like using that, like the selling process and all that, I've heard a technique with, you get a listing call for making a listing appointment, let's say it's for 2 days from now. That same day, a realtor, I don't know who it was, I can't remember who it was, but they would have somebody, either they did or they had somebody run, like they had a pre-packet thing all ready to go and go hang on their door, you know, or whatever, deliver that same day before their appointment. And that made them stand out from anybody else that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the during, guys, we're gonna get through this fairly quick because Mitch has a little thing to share too. What are we doing to wow them during the process? We have a few things, hopefully to add. So you can do videos. You can shoot a video about, hey, this is a home inspection. This is what this means. This is how this works. Hey, this is how appraisals work. Hey, this is, what happens when it goes to underwriting. This is what happens when it, goes to closing. You can have 3 or 4 videos that you can send out to your clients and you shoot it once. And if you have a CRM, it may do it automatically for you, or you just do it manually. Hey, the appraisal came in, shoot that over to the client so they get to see Clint talking about what's going on, or they get to see me talking about what's going on, right? The next one is attend the home inspection with your clients. What's the #1 deal killer? Home inspection, right?
Glad you got that.
I'm thinking.
I mean, we did just put it up there. So,
To the harvest.
but right, attend those with your clients, like at the end of their, be there with them so that you can walk through that. Set the expectation, hey, the home inspector makes a fee of $400. They have to find 100 things wrong or they didn't earn their fee. What we're looking for is foundation, roof, plumbing, and electric, right? We're looking for big ticket items. They're gonna find a bunch of little things that can be covered for little money. So set that expectation, because I've had clients like, I got this thing, there's 2 pages of, yeah, but it's the light switch, the light bulb, and the soffit has a screw missing, like it's little stuff. So set those expectations about home inspection. Tuesday updates.
Communication, #1 complaint people have about realtors. By far, #1 complaint people have about lenders, right? So schedule in a day where you update all your clients that are under contract, whether it's a listing or whether it's buyer. Every Tuesday we call with a status. For a listing, it is, we've had 150 showings and we're gonna be reviewing them all whenever, right? Or we haven't had any showings. So after 2 or 3 weeks in a market like this, we're probably way overpriced or there's something wrong. But call them with a status. In a market that's not as crazy like this, I remember listings used to actually sit on the market. I don't know if anybody was in business back when that would happen a few years ago, 10 years ago. But calling the listing client every Tuesday with an update on what's going on and how many showings you had, what the feedback was super important, because as soon as that listing agent was getting ready to expire, if you called the client and said, hey, I haven't talked to you in 90 days, but we need to get that listing renewed, they're like, oh, who's this again? I haven't heard from you since the sign went in the yard. I'm gonna go a different direction, right? It was more important, I won't say it was more important, but you would lose deals. Nowadays, put a sign in the yard and the home sells within a few weeks. But from contract to close, you still need to stay in touch with those sellers, because as you communicate at a really high level, it gives you an opportunity to ask for a referral, it gives them an opportunity to give you a referral and think highly of you and use you again in the future, right?
Yep. And then the last one is a little tip, is honor call or buyer's remorse call. So after your client signs a listing agreement, right? They sign the listing agreement, hey, we're putting this on the market, they may have buyer's remorse. Well, oh man, I can't believe we're gonna actually sell the house, right? You actually sign it, I've been thinking about it. One little trick that a very successful agent does, as he's leaving the driveway, like 2 minutes down the road, he calls them, says, hey, I know we just signed that listing agreement. And I know sometimes you have questions that pop in, I just want to let you know, and I'm still here for you guys have any questions, it's all about. Wow, you just left, we spent an hour together, and now you're calling back just because you knew that, you know, now that you're gone, the husband and wife may sit there and say, oh, I don't know. what are we doing?
Or, hey, I know we just made an offer, we just accepted an offer. Hey, you made a great decision. How good is that feel to hear? You made a great decision. It's nice to hear that. I bought a mower recently, and the guy was like, you made a great decision. It's gonna be like, you're gonna love this thing. And I was like, oh, good. It's good to hear. It didn't cost as much as the house.
Right.
It's still nice to hear, right? It's good to hear someone who I trusted his opinion. That's why I bought the mower. To say, hey, this was, you made a good decision on this. So, listing is signed, seller agrees on a contract, and now you've got a signed, executed contract. Buyer makes an offer, buyer gets an accepted contract. Like, those are times to call and say, hey, congratulations, you got the contract. This is awesome. Confirm that they made a good decision. And they used to say the driveway call, but now some of this stuff is not done. It's done over email or phone call, like buyers. But making an extra phone call to say, this is a good decision, is super,
Yep.
super good, easy little extra point to add.
And then after the close, a lot of times what happens afterwards, close, they ever hear from the agent again, crickets. And then 5 years later, you're wondering why they didn't use you the next one. Well, they forgot, they don't have your number saved and all that kind of stuff. So a couple things, how are you staying in touch? So there's several things we can do here, right? Closing gifts. We have a cool closing gift. You guys can talk to Brandy. She is awesome at that. If you want closing gifts ideas, we change it every year so that, you know, we have something fresh. We're giving away a cheese board with their name on it.
We used to do gift cards, and they get used, and usually by the time someone uses it, they don't know who gave it to them. So now we do something with an initial on it, so that every time they pull out that cutting board or a Cutco knife, they remember like who gave them that Cutco knife that they use daily or whatever it is.
Survey your clients. Okay, ask them 5 questions. How do we do? How did you feel like we cared for you? There's tons of surveys. Your company, I'm sure, can get you a survey them at closing, you survey them after closing. It can be on a sheet of paper they fill out. It can be a phone call. It can be all that good stuff. Housewarming party, you can do that for some clients, right? Like, hey, you just bought a house, let them get settled in. I'd love to do a housewarming party. You invite 30 of your closest friends and family.
That you will refer.
They can refer. It's a great way to get business. I haven't done one in a long time, but if you want to do that, don't do it on every one because you'll be very busy with that, but you can pick and choose where to do that.
30-day after closing call, super easy call to make. I would say not exactly 30 days, but you know, if somebody's closing now, call them at the end of next month and just say, hey, how's the house? Are the boxes unboxed? Are they still, you know, having stuff still in boxes with pictures on the walls? Do you need anything? Right? Always make sure it's how's the house? Do you need anything? Do you like it? Right? Most people close, never hear from anybody, and they don't feel valued. They think, well, man, I just closed on that house and got paid, and then they forgot I exist. The 30-day after call is like no, we're still in a relationship. Like, I want to know how you're doing. Annual review, monthly mailers. We do monthly mailers. We won't go into great detail on that, but getting something in their hands on a regular basis is super important.
Annual calls, client parties, you know, we got movie day coming up April 9th down here. Bring your family, bring your kids. We're doing Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So, you know, it's gonna be at the Regal, 9 o'clock, and we do a movie day. And we did that every year from 2012 or 13 until the pandemic. Last year we did the drive-in, and this year we're back at Regal. So you know, you can do that. You can partner with somebody in your office to do it, because it is, that's not cheap. But we'd love to have you guys come, and, you know, that's something you can do for your clients. You can do a day at the park, pizza party, all kinds of stuff. Last two things, Christmas cards, birthday cards, stuff like that. Have a system in place that you can do birthdays every week. Friday, you can say, whose birthday is next week? Okay, I need to get these 3 cards out. So happy birthday, hope you have a great, day. We do a free bundt cake. You can go to bundt cake. We set this up, but they do it for anybody now. And they'll give you a little certificate, and you put their name on it. If they redeem it, you pay for it. If they don't redeem it, there's a cost to you. Okay, so if they do redeem it, great, they got a free bundt cake. If they don't, it's free. When are your clients most likely to refer you? Before, during, or after the process is over? During. That's right. Why?
Because they're thinking about it.
They're thinking about it, they're excited about it, they're talking about it. They're at church saying, oh, we're closing in 2 weeks, and everybody says, oh man, we've been thinking about buying, right? So during the process is when you want to be asking the most. Now, you can always ask after it works too, but during the process is when people are thinking about it.
Or they say, man, my realtor can't find me a house. Your client says, oh, really? Well, I need to introduce you to my guy. He's been awesome. She's been great, right? Your brain is activated to it when you're doing it. So you hear the word appraisal or home inspection or realtor, the clients do, and they go, hey, I just heard the word appraisal. Somebody else must be buying a house right now. Because their brain is activated to those things. The year before, when they weren't thinking about buying a house, they would hear the word appraisal and they didn't know they heard it, right? Your brain's not activated to it.
And guys, a quick tip on the screen here, have all your clients, while you're working with them, when you first meet them, share your contact and have them save you, and make sure you have realtor in that, right? Like Chris Ebert dash realtor. Like mine is, Chris Haynes, I think it says mortgage guy or somewhere on there. We try not to give out our cell phones as much as we used to, but you guys do, right? Because if they call the office, you're not there. They kind of have to call your cell phone. You can forward that to an assistant or something, but if they save you in there as your name and realtor, they can, like, I can't remember that guy's name. It was awesome. I really liked it. Let me search in my phone. They type in realtor. Oh, there he is.
Why do you know about your cell phone?
Because I'm here for 2 hours. I'm in meetings for 60-70% of my day a lot of times. Zoom meetings, these kind of meetings, that kind of stuff. So I'm not available on my cell phone. So I don't want people, I'd rather people call the office because it gets answered.
24/7. We have an
24/7.
answering service that covers the evenings and the weekends.
Yep.
And like we said before, we don't want it going to voicemail. If somebody calls my cell phone right now,
It's not a voicemail.
guys, I'm not gonna answer, I promise. So we go to voicemail, and I don't want it going to voicemail. If they call the office, Roberta answers it. She sounds friendly, she's happy, and she gives it to someone who can help them, right? You said something, oh, Dana, yesterday you were showing me, she has I downloaded her contact info through a website. It was super easy. And now all of her information is in my phone, and on the bottom for, I guess it says job or whatever, it says realtor. It was really easy to share that with me, and I had it in my phone in 10 seconds probably.
And it's easy for you then to share that contact.
If they ever share it,
Refer
picture, phone number, first, last name, realtor, phone number, job, email, all of it's in there. And now it's saved in my phone. So their technology is our friend. I'm not good at it. Some of you might not be, some of you might be. Use it for things like that, to share your contact information so people get all the information in their phone that you want them to have.
There's a free app called Hi Hello. There's an app, and you can create your business cards that you can share with all your information.
Yeah.
And social
And
media.
you just text it, they click on a picture, and it'll just,
Right.
yeah. It takes 10 seconds.
In regards to the answering service, like you said, or always having somebody answer when you don't answer, I've heard on the radio, I forgot to write it down, but there's companies out there that aren't very expensive that you as an individual, because they cater towards the single individual business owner that doesn't have a team, doesn't have a receptionist, where there's an answering service that they can help.
So after it rings on your cell phone 3 times, it goes to them, they'll pick it up.
They'll pick it up, yeah.
And they'll say whatever you want. Like
Yeah, you give them the script.
You give them the script, and they say it comes from your phone, they know who it is.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Chris's assistant. They could be in Alabama, right?
And they probably either text or email you exactly what the person on the other end said with their phone number, so that you know, okay, somebody named Mitch called me and they said they wanted to buy a house, and cool, as soon as I'm out of here, I'm calling that person back, right? But they didn't go to voicemail, because what happens if they go to voicemail? Might or might not leave one, they might go right back to Google and look for a new realtor to call, or a new lender to call. Right?
Yeah.
All right, guys, so write down a couple things, right? At least one from the before, the during, and the after that you're not doing. You may be doing some of these already. You may be doing some stuff that we're not doing, right? But if you found one thing or maybe two things in the before, the during, the after that you can change, you can update, write it down. You got a whole bunch of notes. And the key to being successful in business, I learned this a long time ago, is speed of implementation. I'll tell you somebody that's really good at it, it's Clint. Mitch is good at it too. You know, Mitch, I like to coach. I've been coaching for a long time. I'll coach Mitch on something and he'll come back like 2 days later, like, hey man, I've already done that. Like, man, that was fast. Yeah, he's like, I'm trying to make changes, right? If you see a great idea, who's done this? You see a great idea, that's awesome, I'm gonna do it, but you don't act on it immediately. And then you hear that same great idea in 6 months or a year, right? You have to take action, right? You have to decide what's important. And you can't do, we gave you maybe 30 ideas here. I don't expect anybody, please don't go try to do that because you won't do it. But you can absolutely do 3, right? Now, so write down at least 3, one before, one during, one after. If you get 2 each, great.
The other thing that happens is you're super pumped up to do something. By tomorrow or Friday, you're like, oh, that's still a pretty good idea. And by next week, you're like,
What was that?
that won't even help my business. And you don't do anything. That's happened to me a lot. I'm super pumped up about something. By Friday, I'm like, it's kind of, I'm gonna still do that as a pretty good idea. And by the following week, I'm like, that's not even important. I don't know why I ever thought that was important. That's silly. And then I don't implement it. I don't make a change. And guess what? It doesn't happen. I don't change.
Or,
I don't grow, right?
or you still think it's a good idea, but you're like, yeah, I need to get to that. Yeah, I need to get to that.
Yeah,
You just
there's-
never quite-
There's,
but there's-
when you're emotional and activated to do something, you need to do it. Because over time, you will make that shift to go, I don't really want to do that. It's not that important. There's a reason you're pumped up about doing it. So you have to act on it immediately. Anybody ever wanted to start a diet and then said, well, I'll just eat all the bad stuff in my fridge, then I'll do the diet. Well, 2 weeks later, you've eaten all the bad stuff in your fridge. You don't want to do a diet anymore. You just want to go back to the store and get some more sugar, right? Like the time to go clean out your fridge and your cabinet is when you're motivated in that moment to say, nope, I'm starting right now. No more sugar, no more whatever. And you clean out your fridge and clean out your house when you're in that state. Because once you get out of the state, it's no longer important. And all that's changed is you. It's still just as important as it ever was. You've just changed.
What helped me the most when I started implementing stuff was writing it down, having a system and just having it in front of me. So now I know exactly what I'm doing next. So I've got it like kind of like a timeline.
I love that. That's your state tells you I need to do this, and then you build the plan after that to follow. But you don't build the plan first and hope that the plan motivates you to then do something. Because you actually have to work it backwards, right?
Awesome, guys. So I was gonna go over one more quick thing. Mitch is gonna come up. And before, if you don't have a buyer's presentation, that's probably the number one thing I would say, right? What do you talk to, or listing presentation? What is your presentation? Set expectations. During Tuesday updates, that's the easy one. If you're not doing status calls and updates, that's the easy one to do. And the last one, the after, is birthday cards. Who's doing birthday cards? Cards and calls, good. If you're already doing that one, pick another one. Guys, Mitch is gonna go over something that is super easy. I think it's the biggest no-brainer in our business right now. Who loves Zillow? Who wants their clients to go to Zillow to get information, right?
So yeah, that's,
Zillow is a lead generation system for other realtors. If you're willing to pay big money, you can get leads from Zillow too. We have a system, we talked about it a bunch. I know I talked to Chris about it, but it's a way to keep them off of Zillow. And keeps them on your website and gives them the same information or similar information as Zillow, but a lot more information. So I'm gonna let Mitch talk about home.
Yeah. Well, first thing I wanted to ask was a question of, past clients. Who here has lost a past client to another, a listing? You found out, saw on Facebook, oh, they just sold their house. Wait a minute, that's my past client. They didn't use me, So where do people go when, like you said, like when they want to list their home, they're gonna Google, right, Zillow, Redfin, they're gonna start clicking on, oh, I want to see what the value is of my home. All those sites are designed to capture those leads, right? So what this, who in here has heard of HomeBot? I know Chris said you did. Okay. So a few of you have. So what we, look over here. What HomeBot does is essentially you upload your database, your past database to it. Every month, automatically, you don't have to do anything. They get an email digest of their value of their home, estimated value. Now you can tweak it if you want before those emails go out for the first time, or you can just let them go out and let the clients call you back and say, hey, or reach out to you and say, my value is not correct here, or I think it's a little bit lower, or I think it's a little bit higher. So it starts a conversation and you can go in there and tweak it for them. This video will show how, like, basically this is going to explain the benefit to the realtor and how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and play it so you can kind of see and learn, and then we can talk about, I'm going to just log into my portal so you can see how it works.
You are a real estate agent, and you know that staying connected to your past clients is the key to generating new listings and referrals. But how can you compete with the marketing of large portal sites that want to sell your client as a lead to the highest bidder? Introducing HomeBot, a personalized online platform that helps homeowners make educated home wealth decisions, all while positioning you, the real estate agent, top of mind month over month. HomeBot automatically sends your past clients an easy-to-read monthly digest that helps them track their current home value, understand their equity position, calculate their trade-up potential, and much, much more. Once you've uploaded your contacts, HomeBot runs on autopilot, pulling its information from a variety of top data sources and creating a customized digest each month based on your client's specific situation. And while other automated home value portals can take business from you, turning your client into a lead for your competitors, HomeBot makes automated home values work for you, positioning you as the expert and empowering you and your clients to challenge their home value at the right time, leading to a consistent flow of inbound CMA requests that go straight to you. And the best part is, it's not just for past clients. You can use HomeBot to capture new leads and even use it to farm your favorite neighborhoods. Your relationships matter, and that's why each and every HomeBot digest places you front and center, even giving you the ability to be co-sponsored by your favorite lender. Put your relationship building on autopilot with HomeBot, helping homeowners maximize their wealth.
So, so the way, so I'm gonna see if I can log in. Can I log in? Yeah. Sits here. There, I can probably, yeah. But then I'll be able to look on here. Yeah. Okay. So is this it? Right
This is
here?
right there. It says login right there.
Okay.
Already have an account.
Oh, yeah. Here, let me actually. Okay, I see. I'm not gonna be able, can we duplicate the screen? Can everybody still see this? Okay, perfect. Okay. Is this it?
Yep.
Oh, it might not. It might not be it actually. It's probably still okay. That's okay. I'll just use this. So you said, where does it say for login? It's back up there. This actually might still work here.
Three letters is a
Yeah, right. It worked. I was wondering if it was going to be the right password or not. Okay. So essentially, this just shows like the activity. It brings you to your activity screen. There you go. So you're going to see the amount of sends that went out for the month. How many people opened it? 70% open rate. Like 4 emails. 70% is high. It's insane, right? And why do you think that is though? Like why are people clicking on the email? It's specific to their investment, right? Their own home. So they're like, oh, your value's changed. Here's your monthly digest. Oh, cool, let me check it out. So they're clicking on it. Once they click on it, it goes into this, like this little portal, and I'll show you what that looks like. But on your activity feed, you see what activities going on with your clients, what they're doing. So they adjust gears in the home. So they kind of, some of them just play around with it. And they're not interested in selling or doing anything right now, but they're just kind of like in there and tweaking it. Viewed homes market. There's one in here I saw that was like, yeah, like right here, searched first time on listings, searched listings. So this is one that, like, if you were to see this, a past client doing this, you're like, I should probably reach out to them and see if they're interested in selling or looking at buying investment property or whatever their goals are.
It'll show you the most active too, right?
Yeah, so those are like the most active buyers. So there's different ways that you can filter this out. And then as far as like, so you could also use this as buyer leads, so you can get, you can put buyers in here as well, and they can, it's almost like doing like the drip you do through like RealTrax or something like that, but it'll allow them, when they search, you can see their activity. So you can see if buyers are searching properties, like let's say you put somebody in today and 8 months from now, they start looking again, then that might be a touch point. But the agents that have signed up under me, that like their open percentage is right there too, 77%. I mean, you're basically getting in front, your face in front of the client every single month. And hopefully when they want to list, they're going to be reaching out to you instead of going to Zillow. I was just going to pull up one that I want to see so I can show you what the digest looks like, what the client sees. So this client, estimated value is this. It gives them a little chart. Now this one doesn't have a mortgage. This is kind of a bad example. But back to homeowners, let me just see if I can find one real quick that has, this one should be good. So what's really neat about this, so this would be branded with all of your information. They can see what this pulls in automatically their current balance. Basically, it's estimating their balance based on when they bought, their interest rate, and it's figuring out, okay, their balance should be about this. So they can actually, as a client, when they get in here, they can update their balance if they've made extra payments or anything like that. So you'll see their activity, like you'll see how clients like to use this as a tool to kind of track their investment. This kind of shows you a little chart. Does this look correct? Yes or no? If they say no, it will say, hey, do you want to request a CMA? And then you'll get notified your client wants a CMA on their property. So it might be somebody you've not talked to in 5 years, sold them home 5 years ago. All of a sudden now they're requesting a CMA. The touch point to call them. Hey, are you interested? I can run the CMA, but are you also interested in maybe listing? Let's talk about that. So it just generates.
You said this, Mitch, is it every Sunday or Monday? It gives you a list of the 10 most active people. So if you wanted every Monday to go in and call those 10 people,
yeah,
it gives you 10 people to call that are actively looking at their investment, their home online. And as you, the professional, who better to call?
Yeah, it's
people
like
that are active on HomeBot looking at their property value.
Exactly. It's like your weekly insights for what has happened over the past week. As the client scrolls down, there's all these different tools. This is what you paid for so far. If you paid, what could you save in a refinance? If you pay extra, and all these things are adjustable here, so that you can see what you could save. What if you wanted to purchase a new property? How much could you afford? Buy an investment. Of course, these are they're not exact, numbers, and that's where we, obviously, a lender, come in and be able to go over those with them. But it at least gives them touch points to initiate contact with you, or the lender, in which case we all get the updates. Like I get updates when the realtors that have signed up under me, when a client has gone and started looking at properties or want to know more about listings or whatever. I'll get the notification. I'll forward it to the agent and say, hey, your client, just want to make sure you didn't miss this. But it's such a great tool. the cost of this.
And I want to ask you
Yeah.
before you say that,
Yeah.
how much does it cost to get on Zillow, like minimum now? To get like 80. Does anybody know? 1,000 a month or something, probably kind of minimum.
That's much.
I know a lot of people are paying 5 and 10 grand a month for your agents, for your teams, you're paying a lot of money on Zillow to get
That's
those
okay.
leads. It depends on zip code, depending on the number of leads you want.
Placement on the.
Placement on it,
on the
it's
website.
really, because Zillow has kind of cornered that market.
One of
What
the,
would you pay
Yeah.
for?
yeah.
Right? So this
How
is
much
what's
would you
crazy
pay?
awesome about this.
Well, before we go into what it costs, I just want one other
Yeah,
little
right.
thing here is you can share this. Obviously, there's share on social, so you can go ahead and share this. You know, what's your home worth, or it has preloaded posts that you can make. You can embed a widget on a website. What is your home worth? I have that embedded on my website. Or you could share this page. This is a landing page. So what can you do with a landing page? Obviously, you can direct people to it, right? But I've had realtors that have blanketed canvas neighborhoods with postcards saying, hey, this home just sold in your neighborhood for this amount. They didn't even sell the home. They're saying it just sold for this amount. If you want to know what your home's worth, scan this QR code. The QR code links right back to their landing page. So now
They're
they're
putting their information down there.
now they're going right into their home bot. So so the cost. So essentially, we make nothing off the cost of this. We actually don't even have access to your clients unless they click on something that says, we want to refinance, or we want to get pre-approved for a home. Then we'll get notified, and then we can start that conversation with them. So really that's the value for us as lenders. If you were to go sign up on this on your own through HomeBot's $100 a month, up to, I think it's 500 clients. And through us, when you partner with the lender, it's $25 a month. So for up to 500 clients. Now, if you want to go over that, obviously there's different tiers, but that's $300 a year. That's $3,000 in 10 years. You retain one client from this. What's average commission? 8-9 grand. You just pay 30-40 years worth of just for one client,
And you'll
So-
get leads out of every month. It's a conversation starter.
It's a
Hey, I saw you
conversation
clicking
starter.
around. What are you guys thinking about doing? Are y'all not thinking about it? Just kind of clicking. Great. Who else do you know?
Yeah.
They might be looking to sell. Just it opens that conversation. And I have a lot of like people that you get that positive feedback. Man, I just love to see my equity, and I love to see what's going on in the market. And every now and then it is an online estimate. So you'll get that, hey, this thing is off.
Yeah.
Okay, well, why is that important to you right now?
Yeah.
Right? Because I just say, hey, it's exactly like Zillow in that it pulls information from the tax record. So if your tax record shows 3,400 square feet, your actual square feet is more, it can be off. And then we can also go there and tweak it, right? So the people that are like, hey, it's off, there's probably a reason they care. Great conversation started, go there and correct it. Say, hey, we'll try to get that corrected. Maybe next month when it comes out, you'll see an improvement.
I had one realtor that went through all of her database. She uploaded it, put it on hold, went through every single one and did a CMA because she wanted to make sure it was correct before it went out.
Wow.
And then, but most of the realtors that do it will upload it, and then they'll be like, no, I want them to contact me because they think it's wrong or it's not right, and they will tweak the ones that are obvious. They'll scan through it like, that doesn't look right. Maybe they will tweak those if it's significantly off, but it's usually right in the ballpark. And so it's just like, we're all about giving back value, to you as realtors. So just like this lunch and learn. So that's why we feel like this is such an awesome tool. It's an absolute no brainer. Does anybody have any questions on it?
And we're gonna be at lunch too, like, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
have
can
a
talk more
conversation.
about it, sure. Go ahead.
Where is it pulling, where is it pulling the values from? Like what database is it pulling?
So pull tax record, just gonna pull sales, just like Zillow.
Okay.
Like when the MLS says that the house down the street sold for 350. Zillow's like, oh, good comp. This house is exactly the same. Now this value is 352. Right? So just gonna update.
What I've found, so I've had realtors like look and compare, and they said that they feel this is more accurate than Zillow. Zillow can do the big range. They said that it's maybe not perfect, but it's they feel like it's a lot more accurate than like
Yeah, guys, if you want to pass it, we need your help for them. We're gonna get them drawn out and big prize. Thank you.
Rob, were there any questions on the?
No, I was just looking for it. I have to say though, I get it. I'm a client, I'm a close client, so I'm staying on by.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite, emails I get every month, because I love seeing what's going on, and I even know a little bit, obviously, about what's going on with the business, but it's so well, it's real professional looking, it's really nice, and I open it every time, and I don't do that with anything. So
Well, what's neat is you hear in the market like, oh, values are going up like crazy, and then you get the email and you see your own value, your home value going up too, and it came from your trusted realtor that you use, your trusted source, so.
So it seems like it'd be really good too for, somebody that's sure something about their house to watch it.
Exactly.
It seems like it's on the website.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you never know, 5 months from now, they might be talking to a relative or a friend that wants to buy, and they're like, check out this, what my value's done, and there's your name right on it.
Yeah.
You're getting referred.
You got everybody? Two more.
See what it says.
He's got referrals. Are you selling? Your clients?
No.
We talked about it, but that can't turn into something.
Hey, and I will say
No,
on,
I said.
But yeah.
on the home,
It's one of those really exciting.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, guys, here we go. We got one draw tonight.
Big mine, that's not mine.
Yours.
You can just go ahead and- Oh, that's not mine.
Dana.
All right,
We've got lunch downstairs. What's lunch?
what we got for lunch?
Gourmet box lunch.
All right, we'll see y'all downstairs. Y'all hang out.
And if you are online, thank you for coming. We don't have lunch for you, but we appreciate you attending.